It's called Latin Boogaloo, a rhythmic mix of R&B, soul, jazz, born in Spanish Harlem, and now this music is making a comeback, big time. The sounds of Boogaloo have been around for decades, and now there's a new push to make those sounds live on for another 50 years and beyond. And look who's here with us today. Two men credited with helping propel Latin Boogaloo sound during its start in the 60s. Johnny Colon, your ordinary guy, Joe Bataan. To their right, DJ Turmix, a.k.a. Carlos Vera Fernandez, a mix master who's been putting a modern twist on the classic songs. Un placer. Thanks for being here, guys. This is fantastic. It's a pleasure for me here on Tiempo to have you here. Are you amazed that here we are, what, 40, 50 years later? And the return of this is big time. I mean, you got to get the energy going again, right? Inside you, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm amazed big time, but thank God I still have the energy, so
yes,
that's...
to do it. To what do you credit the return of Boogaloo music?
I think that it's probably that the Boogaloo has always been around. You know, it never really went away.
Yeah. It just sort of subsided a little bit?
Sort of subsided a little bit, and so the kids now want to know what it's all about. So I think that that's the reason for it.
And Joe, we talk about New York, but you've been touring all over. It's not just here, right?
It's worldwide.
Yeah.
The sound is universal. For so long, what hasn't erupted in New York is happening in Japan, Australia, England. They all go by different monikers. You know, it's acid rock in England, it's Latin soul in other parts of the country, but basically it all erupted from the Latin Boogaloo, what we did here in New York.
Let me ask you what I just asked him. To what do you attribute its resurgence? Why all of a sudden is it so popular again?
Well, I don't think it's an accident. You know, something that's good always resurfaces. And this music was good. Actually, what happened and transpired back in the days where it was cut off from the public was a travesty. It didn't have to happen that way, but unfortunately it did, and I'm gracious to know that we're going to be at Central Park, you know.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because the three of you guys are together coming up on Wednesday in the park. DJ Turmix, un placer. Thanks for being here. Originally from Barcelona.
Barcelona, Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think good people like you probably have a large reason for its resurgence. Are you playing it because people demanded it, or did you start playing it and then it came back?
I started to play Boogaloo in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And I started to collect vinyls from that time. And when I came to New York, is the music I do. And it's a surprise for me, when I came to New York and not have any party dedicated to that sound.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's one sound original from New York, no?
Yeah. And it's nice that it comes back home, right?
Yeah.
Explain it to me, Johnny. You have salsa, you have merengue, you have mambo. How's Boogaloo different?
Well, Boogaloo was the experience of the young kids that grew up in El Barrio, in East Harlem.
Yeah.
We listened to all kinds of music. We listened to jazz, we listened to classical music, rhythm and blues. So that was all part of our upbringing. And I think that that experience translated into what we did with the music.
Okay. Which was what?
Well, for instance, if you listen to Boogaloo Blues at the beginning, you have which is blues.
Yes.
That's what we're playing on the piano. So the blues is now incorporated into the regular kind of, you can call it a cha-cha beat if you want.
Yeah.
Cha-cha beat that's going on.
Backbeat.
But there's something that happens. There's the backbeat also that goes on. On the 2 and the 4 of the beat. Exactly. So that also was a contributing factor. Not totally, but also a contributing factor. Another factor is that a lot of the music was sung in English.
Yeah.
So those kids who had gotten away, this generation that was now going towards rock and into heavy rock, and the kids who were in the Vietnam War hear this music, and they can, that's their bridge.
And they can understand, They can understand it, Joe.
They can understand. What happened was, ironically, there was limited on how much the Latin music was being played on the radio at that time.
Okay.
So when we started to sing the songs in English with the Latin beat, of course we crossed over.
Yeah.
And that's allowed all the other artists that have come to this day that have been able to cross over it with this music.
And I think a younger generation can better appreciate the music if they can understand the lyrics.
Exactly.
Which
and
is
that's
fantastic.
probably why it opened up to the world.
Yeah. I mean, do you see the resurgence when you're spinning at local gigs here at the Empire or wherever you play, DJ?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. I see many young people are interested. What is this sound? Because it's like I say, Johnny, no, it's like I mix everything in one song, have different styles and different language because many songs are in Spanish. Maybe the one part of the lyrics is in English, other in Spanish, other mixed with Boricua.
And it's a compilation of everything, right? Why do you think it's so important? I mean, I know the importance, but let me ask you that the younger generation appreciate the music of 40 and 50 years ago.
Well, I think that what happens is that everything that's old is new again. And so if you can identify the music, then you actually have a connection to your culture. And that's actually what happened when the Boogaloo first came out.
Yeah.
Kids actually went back to their culture. You know, they went back to discover Puente, they went back to discover Eddie Palmieri and those guys, Charlie and Machito and those guys. But I just want to quickly go back to something that Joe said about the music, and he's right. I came back from doing 12 concerts in Colombia very quickly, and I saw this wall full of all this music, of our music, and I said, Jesus, how come you have all this huge wall here? The guy said, because that music never dies. I said, are
Your
you
heart
kidding?
must have stopped.
Yes, it's legendary. And the other artists who were in the front, he says, these new guys coming up, every 6 months they got to come up with a new record. But this goes on forever.
Forever. Wow. And what better tribute can you have than,
it's wonderful
than
to
something
hear
like
that.
that? Sit tight. When we come back, where you can see and hear the sounds of Boogaloo for yourself right here in New York City. We'll tell you about it when we come back on Tiempo.